Welcome back, traders. It is absolutely gorgeous Sunday morning. God bless each and every single one of you guys. And I wanted to go over today Nio Stock. If the bottom is in, I'd like to see these three things occur as technical confluence, right? And when we talk about technical confluence, I'm specifically looking for things that would indicate a swing higher, right? So on Nio Stock, you closed the week at $5, guys. And the importance of that cannot be understated. It is so important that you closed above your $4 retracement and you're showing a little bit of strength. But the first thing I'd like to see Nio Stock do, if this is in fact the bottom and you found your finally, right, the end of the downside. We established this uptrend that we had back from April. You tapped it in May, and then you rocketed above it, right? And so you came all the way down from $8 all the way down to $4.77, guys. That is already a pretty huge retracement, and I'm not going to understate that, right? But one thing that I'd like to see us do is you have to get above the 9-day EMA, especially right now, guys, off of the bottom of this channel, off of the bottom of this retracement. You need to see volume step in, and the last 2 days you've seen volume decrease off of this bounce. Particularly why I think you have one more drawdown in which you make a bullishly divergent low, you fill the gap, you bounce off of the weekly RSI uptrend, bounce 1, bounce 2, bounce 3, looking for your fourth bounce, guys. And if all of that happens, I do believe the bottom is in. I do believe you're going to see pretty tremendous upside from these lows, as you've clearly established a higher low between this trading range. And that is what matters, guys. If you make a lower low in this local range, a lot of things are going to change in the macro thesis, right? But that being, what I'm trying to say is I want to avoid at all costs on Nio Stock, we have to avoid the daily death cross. And that's going to come with volatility. You have to, in my eyes, fill this gap at 450, and then you have to rocket ship blast out of there, right? Because the longer you hang below the 200-day EMA, the more and more and more likely it becomes that you see that daily death cross, guys. The first one since all the way back, since all the way back in 2021. And it was not a good thing. Was not a good thing, right? You saw it kind of flirt with it here, and then a confirmed death cross brought you down from your high of 39 all the way down to $3. Now, that's not the end of the world, right? There are times where you've gotten it, and although the move was already pretty much over, right? You got it halfway through the move, particularly towards the low, actually. You then consolidated, found a low, consolidated, and actually, when you take the time span, that was 68 days before you saw your absolute MOASS on Nio Stock. So it's never the end of the world. It's never a 100%, but it is not a good thing for sure, guys. So I'd like to see us avoid that, and I'd like to see a bullish wave of momentum begin to snowball here for Nio, as I know it can, right? During this leg up, just did not stop. And I'm still inherently bullish on this chart, but you have to do these two things first. As early as Monday, guys, you need to see volume kick in and eliminate this 3-day drawdown in volume bars. You need to see a close above the 9-day EMA, and we'll cover that on Monday. And then you need to see the daily MACD. You already have the curling up, right? Your daily MACD is curling up. You need to see that green cross for the first time, truly, a true green cross for the first time since back in September, right? When you saw this leg up. You need that probably more than ever right now. What I do anticipate to happen, though, what I think is more likely is for this thing to get a little bit more volatile before it gets a little bit less, right? I would anticipate Monday open for you to reject the 9-day EMA because of the volume bars. I think this is likely, right? See this bounce and probably test the bottom of this supportive trend. Test that, reject, fill the gap, and then I think that gap fill right here will be the bottom, in my opinion. Then you find some kind of base to find the bottom and hopefully fill the gaps up north. I personally believe that. You can do whatever you want. You can trade how you want, but that is what I see here. And the reason I'm thinking you have one more low on Nio is because of this weekly RSI trend. Every single drawdown, you've come down to this weekly RSI uptrend. And when you've bounced the uptrend, guys, you found a crazy support every time. I'll give you an example. You saw what was this bounce? 50% bounce off of the first tab, a 156% bounce. Back here, you had a bounce as well. 60% bounce. So every single time, genuinely, we've seen this RSI uptrend tested, we've bounced 60% or more. I do not anticipate that to change. The trend is your friend here, and I think if we can see that gap fill while you test this uptrend, I think that's enough technical confluence for me to say I would go long Nio, right? I think that is intense, insane value on the stock that I really, really would like to buy in that area on the gap fill. And we're not far away. We're what, 50 cents? So we just got to buckle up, Buttercup. But one more thing I wanted to cover on Nio, particularly our point of control on the stock. And I say this because we covered it on GameStop. And I think in a market drawdown like this, it's more important to see what is our area of support and resistance. And no wonder, guys, no freaking joke, you silly chickens, we are coming all the way down to your point of control on the macro. This is your number one horizontal resistance according to the volume range, the visible range volume profile. I had thought 560. 560 is an insane area of support, but the volume tells another story. Just based off of pure strength, it's saying that 450 just happens to be right at your gap fill, guys, is your main traded area within this stock. So fascinating to see you're coming after breaking out of it, coming all the way back to retest. And I do believe, guys, that this would be that shoulder, head, right shoulder accumulation pattern in which you could see if this does find a bullish bounce, something along the lines of this, right? If you break this neckline, the all stubborn 771, I do believe you can see that bounce upwards of $16 to $19. And that's just the start, guys. That is just the beginning on Nio Stock. Before we jump into anything crazy, you do have your inverse head and shoulders on your last run up, guys. So just to put into perspective, you came up, your neckline was 450, guys, on the last run up. You're now testing your last run up resistance. I think significantly bullish. Significantly bullish. But besides for that, guys, I wanted to talk about IWM because IWM is slated in such a way that you could be doing crazy stuff. I mean, like, small cap stocks are positioned how they have not been positioned since 2020 and 2021 during this run up. And we outlined this in our last video. I'm going to turn off the VRVP for a second. We outlined this in our last video going over the small cap stocks, how I believe risk on assets are about to come back with a vengeance, right? You have that in IWM. You have your most critical trend, your horizontal flat top resistance. Horizontal flat top resistance. Every single time you get back above that, guys, you literally MOASS, you slingshot, you catapult, and money rotates back into these smaller cap companies. You saw it back here in COVID, right? You gapped up and went 40%. Saw it back here in 2018, 2016. Broke the flat top resistance, 40%. You saw it back in 2012. Black broke your flat top resistance, 55%. You saw it back in 2003. Broke your flat top resistance, 67%. And you're going to see it again, in my opinion. Not financial advice, but this is just so clean. It's such a perfect setup for you guys. You can see you had a falling broadening wedge. You broke it. That was your 2021 run when rate cuts were cut to zero, right? You now have the economic opportunity to see that rate cuts are coming down. The Fed is untightening its balance sheet, and money is going to begin to rotate back in to the small cap stocks, your Nios, your GameStop, your AMC, right? Your crypto. And what you can see here is your previous all-time high, guys, is being retested. And you've bounced off of it since. And you're now going to make another all-time high. Are you freaking kidding me? And so I say this with absolute confidence that IWM, in my opinion, has never looked better. Flat across the board, has never looked better. And that is insane, guys. Because when this thing goes up, when this thing outperforms the S&P, we win. You can see you're literally about to cross the daily or the weekly RSI band for the first time since this move up here. I do anticipate that this drawdown to extreme fear was one of the largest buying opportunities so far of the last 5 years. And I do not think I'm wrong. I genuinely do not think I'm wrong. So this retest of the all-time high, I anticipate to slingshot us up to 300 to 350. That is bullish for all of our risk on assets. If I go to the quarterly chart, you now officially have your breakout of the symmetrical triangle on the RSI. Quarterly time frame, mind you, right? With your largest weekly close and your largest quarterly close in all of IWM's history, guys. Let that sink in. You have your first breakout since 2008, 2012, which, if you guys see, was one of the largest run-ups in IWM's history. 56% on the index, guys. That is insane. So I do anticipate a move similar to that. Maybe it's to 350, right? You get a 50% move into this rising wedge-esque territory formation, or maybe you blast past, right? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, our risk on assets look absolutely primed, and I'll continue to cover it. I do believe we will see a rate cut on the 6th or 9th. When is that meeting? FOMC. English. So the 16th or 17th. I feel like that's wrong. When... That is correct. Okay, the next and final FOMC meeting of 2025 is December 9th to December 10th. Meeting days Tuesday and Wednesday. Interest rate decision. So that's this week, guys. That is this week that we're going to get some fundamentally bullish news, in my opinion, to launch your risk on assets market. So not financial advice, guys. Do not take or act on what I say, but this just looks so freaking beautiful to me, guys, and it is finally time that the retail investor win. So take all of it with a grain of salt. God bless each and every single one of you guys. Happy Sunday. Enjoy the Sabbath. And I will see you guys in the next video. Remember, the best is yet to come. Peace. Yeah. Woo.